Hello, scholars. It's me, Miss Jackson. Welcome to virtual ELA class. Today is Friday, March 27th, 2020, and we're going to focus on lesson 10 for today. There is no do now today, so we will keep moving. Objective. Objective. I will read the band with purpose and understanding. Digraph. Wait for the snap. If you said S, give yourself a point. If you, oops, thinking. If you said give yourself a point. Tricky words. Don't get tricked. Wait for the snap. If you said cow, give yourself a point. Spelling words. We won't have a spelling test, but it is still important to know these words and to know how to spell these different words. So we're going to review them. S-U-N. That spells sun. K-I-S-S. That spells kiss. C-E-N-T. That spells scent. That spells scent. P-R-I-N-C-E. That spells prince. Z-I-P. That spells zip. J-A-Z-Z. That spells jazz. P-I-G-S. That spells pigs. H-E-R-E. That spells here. If we were in class today, scholars, we would have had a spelling test on the words that we just had, which means next week we will have different spelling words, scholars. So we're going to move on. The expectation is that you're ready to grow your brain and show me what you know. This is the N sound. It is a consonant. It is a consonant. It is a digraph. That means air gets trapped when I say the sound. That means air gets trapped when I say the sound. That means more than one letter but only one sound. Mm, 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 mm. This is the power bar. It is strong. That means it gets used a lot. These are the power bars. They are weak. That means it does not get used a lot. In the classroom today, scholars, we would have had an anchor chart, but we don't have an anchor chart for today, so we're going to keep moving. So sorry, scholars. All right, scholars, today's reader is about how practice makes perfect, especially when it comes to playing in a band. KN makes what sound? Knocking. C can make what sound? S. Grace. Spencer. Concert. CE makes what sound? S. Vance. Sense. SE makes what sound? S. Moose. Geese. House. Two-syllable words. Trumpet. Trombone. Mister. Master. Racket. Trumpet is a noun. Trumpet is a noun because it is a thing. It is a brass musical instrument with 3 buttons. For example, I would say the soldiers plays the trumpet every morning at sunrise. Trombone is a noun. Trombone is a noun because it is a thing. It is a brass musical instrument with a slide. For example, I would say my brother plays the trombone in his school band. Racket is a noun. Racket is a noun because it is a thing. It is a loud, unpleasant noise. For example, I would say a truck outside made such a racket, it woke me up. Concert is a noun. Concert is a noun because it is a thing. It is a show or performance. For example, I would say we are going to a concert to hear my favorite singer. Like a sick moose. And that is a saying. A moose is a large animal that might make a loud moaning sound when sick. For example, I would say when our car broke down, Dad said it sounded like a sick moose. Like a flock of geese. Again, that is another expression. Geese are birds that make honking noises. For example, I would say there were so many car horns honking like a flock of geese. Belting out. That's another expression, scholar. It means singing or playing a song loudly or with spirit. For example, I would say the singer was belting out the national anthem at the ball game. Knocking it out of the park. That is an expression. It means doing a great job. For example, I would say our teacher told us that we were knocking it out of the park with our reading. So, scholars, we're going to read today's story to find out how Grace and her sister first sounded when they started playing musical instruments. The title of our story is called The Band, and if we had our reader, we would have been turning to page 18. Starting with the title, The Band. Finger underneath the word Grace. Grace and Jill are in a band. Grace toots on her trumpet. Jill toots on her slide trombone. Finger underneath the word when. When the children started out, they did not sound too good. Jill and her trombone sounded like a sick moose. Grace and her trumpet sounded like a flock of geese. Finger underneath the word the. The two of them made quite a racket. Finger underneath the word it. It was so bad that Mr. Spencer would yell, "I can't take it!" Then he would run out of the house and hide in the barn. Finger underneath the word but. But since then, the children have gotten a lot better, just as Mr. Vance said they would. Mr. Vance is the band master. He spends a lot of time with the children, helping them get better. Finger underneath the word in. In the spring, there is a band concert in the park. Finger underneath the word Mr. Mr. Vance gets up on the bandstand and waves his hands. The band starts belting out a jazz song. They sound good. Grace hits the notes on her trumpet. Jill's trombone sounds good too. The drummer is drumming up a storm. The band is knocking it out of the park. Finger underneath the word Mr. Mr. Vance has a big smile on his face. He is proud of Grace and Jill. Finger underneath the word Mr. Mr. Spencer smiles too. He has gotten tired of spending so much time in the barn. All right, scholars, I have some questions and I have new friends today. Some of them are old, some of them are new. But they're going to be helping me out, scholars. So make sure you're thinking of complete sentences when answering these questions, okay? Question number 1. What instrument does Grace play? Thinking. Owlette is going to answer this question. What instrument does Grace play? The instrument that Grace plays is the trumpet. Way to go, Owlette. That is the correct answer. I love the way she completed that sentence like a future second grade scholar. Next question. What instrument does Jill play? Tracking Tundra. Let's go, Tundra. Tundra, what instrument does Jill play? The instrument that Jill plays is the slide trombone. Ooh, he got it. Ooh, he got it. Absolutely correct. Love the complete answer. The complete answer that Tundra gave us. Scholars, next question. Thinking, how did the two girls sound when they first started? Thinking, how did the two girls sound when they first started? Checking Pablo. Let's go, Pablo. Pablo, how did the two girls sound when they first started out? When they first started out, they sounded like a sick moose and a flock of geese. That means they did not sound great. Way to go, Pablo. Next question, scholars, number 4. What did they sound like at the start? Thinking, what did they sound like at the start? Listening for a complete sentence. Tracking Ferdinand. Let's go, Ferdinand. Ferdinand, how did they sound at the start? At the start, they knocked it out the park. They sounded good. Ferdinand, I'm going to have to disagree with you because at the start, they did not sound good. Would you like to change your answer? Well, if we go back into the reader, it said that at the start, they sounded like a racket. That means they did not sound good. Way to work it out. Way to work it out. Good job, Ferdinand. I love the way he did not give up. He showed grit and he figured out the answer the second time. Remember, it's okay if we make mistakes, but we also have to make sure that we fix those mistakes, okay? Question number 5, scholars thinking. How did Grace and Jill get better? What is it that they did that allowed them to get better? Tracking Golden Bear. Let's go, Golden Bear. Golden Bear, how did Grace and Jill get better? Grace and Jill were able to get better because Mr. Vance helped them practice every day. Ooh, she got it. Ooh, she got it. Absolutely correct. They did get better by practicing, and their bandmaster, Mr. Vance, allowed them to practice each day. Last question, scholars. Why was Mr. Spencer spending so much of his time in the barn? Thinking. Why was Mr. Spencer spending so much time in the barn? Tracking Brown Bear. Let's go, Brown Bear. Brown Bear, why was Mr. Spencer spending so much time in the barn? Well, Mr. Spencer was spending so much time in the barn because he didn't like the noise that Grace and Jill were making with their instruments. Way to work it out. Way to work it out. Yes, Mr. Spencer was not a fan of the noise that they were making with their instruments, so he got out of the house and went into the barn for some peace and quiet. All right, scholars, we know this means we have some work to do at a table, at a counter, at a desk, on a book, however you need to write, whatever you need to write on, it is time. All right, scholars, so inside of your packet, you should see 10.2 at the top. If you are not there yet, pause the video and get there. We're going to do questions 1 before I let you go down to do 2, 3, and 4. It is a front and a back. So question number 1 says, what did Grace and Jill sound like at the start? So you will start your answer like this. at the start, Grace and Jill, and then you'll say sounded like. Ms. Jackson is going to try to do her best to write this. At, I'll try. Show some grit. At the, oh my goodness, scholars. The finger spaces, making sure you're writing it with your finger spaces. Start. Oh my goodness. I want to give up so bad, but I'm not, because I know that you like when your teachers finish what they started, okay? At the start, instead of saying Grace and Jill, I'm just going to say they. They see how I'm still trying to use my uppercase and lowercase letters. They sounded, trying, sounded like a racket, okay? I guess I'll stop there. Sounded, because now my letters are looking a hot mess, and we don't like that. But your answer should start like this. At the start, they sounded, and then you'll say like a racket. You're going to do 2, 3, and 4 independently. You know that means by yourself. Number 2 says, how did Mr. Spencer act when the children started out? I will be looking for a complete sentence, restating and answering. I will challenge you to go back into the video and locate the page number where you found your answer. And then number 3 says, who is Mr. Vance? Looking for a complete sentence. I will be checking number 3. So when you are done with number 3, please take a picture of number 3 and text it to Miss Jackson. Mr. Vance is, How did you get that answer? What page tells you that? And then number 4 says to describe the band concert. What do you think was happening? Using some adjectives to describe what was happening at the band concert. Excuse me. I will be looking for pictures for number 3. Do your best, scholars. That is all I expect. All right, so we know this means our lesson is over. And we also know this means today would have been an iReady day. However, today still can be an iReady day. If you have a computer at home, if you have a laptop at home, you know how to get onto iReady. All you have to do is type in iReady.com. Use your code, your classroom code to get in there. Use your password once you found your name. And then I challenge you to do 30 minutes of iReady reading, not iReady math. You guys love iReady math. But I want you to do 30 minutes of iReady reading. If you can do 30 minutes of iReady reading, that's 3 Grow Our Team points for you. I will be checking in the computer to see if you've done your 30 minutes. And then after you do your 30 minutes, then you can ask your parents if you can get onto Get Epic or ABC Mouse. And last but not least, it is our brain break. Scholars, I challenge you to write a kind note to your parents, thanking them for all of the things that they're doing during this time. If it's not your parents, you can write a kind note to your grandparents, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin. If you have older siblings who are helping you, go ahead and write them a kind note, thanking them for all that they are doing for you. Again, scholars, I miss you. Can't wait to see you. Text me if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, or you want to say hello. See you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.